So today you're going to watch the first ever Jamie's rant, where I'm going to be going through, does BMV, below market value property deals, actually exist? And if they do they actually work? So first of all, does it exist? Now this pisses me off so much when I hear this. I think people are so illogical. I've actually heard a trainer go, BMV doesn't exist, but I do believe in a discount on the property. Well, if that's you, moron, let me explain something to you. If there is a discount to the purchase price or the value of a property, that is below the market value, also known as below market value. So for those of you that are confused about it, does it exist? 100% absolutely. And I've got deals that you've seen on this channel that prove that, where I literally buy the property, do nothing to it, put it on the open market, and I've made tens of thousands. The High Wycombe property, if we put a picture here, something like 70 odd grand. The Islington property here, currently on the open market, gonna make about 90 grand plus, okay? They were below market value properties. So what's an easier way to differentiate this? I would see it as an open market value or open market price versus an investor price or investor value. So what's the difference? Well, on the open market, you're typically going to wait 3 to 6 months. You're going to have people coming in, viewing your property. You're going to have people traipsing through, putting in different offers over the first 4 or 5 weeks. Then it goes through a legal process, and they're typically slower than the average person. That, and they're often caught in a chain, which means in order to buy your property, they are relying on selling their property currently, and it goes through this chain, increasing the risk of a fallout, because if anyone pulls out on that chain, it could affect the purchase of yours. The open market and the fickle world. Is it fair to say you would expect a higher value for that property? You can put yes in the comments or no in the comments if you want. I would say yes, that's a fair response. If I'm going to be going through that, I'd expect a higher price. Let's go to scenario B. Somebody can pay cash for your property. They might not even need to view it. They're just sending around a RIC surveyor. You're not needing to send around 30, 40 people. They're not in a chain, and they're able to complete in a number of weeks, maybe sort of 6 to 8 weeks, rather than 6 to 8 months. Now, if you had that scenario, whether you'd accept it or not is irrelevant. Do you think it's reasonable to expect less from an investor where they're taking on that added risk and you're not having all of that hassle? Again, put in the comments. Hopefully you go, yeah, that's fairly reasonable. So is it fair to say then that in comparison to the open market value, if there is a discount to that and the investor has got it at an investor value, is that below market value? The answer is yes. So I'm going to break down why people actually sell below market value in a moment. But now that we've covered what it is, what I really want to break down is what isn't it? And again, I've seen this even from trainers out there, and it really gives a sort of bad name if I'm honest. If you buy an £80,000 property and you spend £20,000 refurbishing it to then be worth £100,000, you have not purchased a 20% below market value deal. You have purchased a property at around the market value in that condition. And I've seen people go, there's one trainer, and I'm not going to out people at all, but I've seen this person go, I bought this one for 90, I spent 15,000 on it, it's revalued at 125, good deal, okay, 105, 125, I've got a 35% discount. And if you're there trying to work out the figures, I'm going to stop you there. You're not going to. It's not a 35% discount at all. It's actually about a 17, 18% discount, which is still a great deal. But you see people overinflate figures like this, and it's not realistic. Another thing that is not BMV, if something is put on the open market at 300,000 and you get it agreed at 240,000, for example, it's easy to assume that you've got it 20% below the market value, i.e. 20% of 300 is 60, minus that off 240. But remember, just because an estate agent has put it online at 300,000, that doesn't mean that it's actually worth that. You need to do your research to understand what it's going to sell for and what the sold subject to contract rates are and what the RICS valuers are likely to value it at. And remember, if it is 300,000 and you've got it at 240, great. But a lot of people will send me something and say, hey, here it was listed 2 months ago at 300,000, therefore I must have got it at 20% BMV at 240. No, you don't. So the next question is, why would somebody actually sell below market value? Well, there's two words that come to mind, and really it's a reality of both. You are looking for motivated vendors, people that are motivated to sell quickly. Other people would say distressed. Now, ultimately, they're the same thing sometimes. They're not always distressed or in financial peril like everyone thinks. But the reason I like using motivated is because the whole psychology around it is I'm helping somebody. I'm genuinely trying to think of the problem and solution to fix that problem moving forward. If you're looking for people that are distressed, I think psychologically you're going in to take advantage of people, which is not really how I want to operate in the first place. And it could be for a number of reasons. The obvious ones are financial problems, right? It could be they're going through financial struggles. Sometimes it's they're moving on to a development and they need money quickly from this. So actually they're investors themselves, but they'll take a hit on the portfolio in order to have enough cash for the bigger development going on. Could be they're moving abroad or repatriation. It could be probate, i.e. they've inherited the property. Sometimes they're accidental landlords. We have people from the army coming in. We have people that genuinely, they're not having any motivation apart from the fact they just don't like estate agents in the first place. So that's why people will sell at a discounted value. You have to bear in mind, if somebody's got a £200,000 property that they can just put online and sell for 200,000 and they're happy for 6 months to wait, then you're unlikely to get a deal from that person. And that's fine, by the way. You're not trying to turn no's into yeses. But you have to bear in mind, people go, oh my God, you're taking advantage. It's like, well, look, if somebody is getting repossessed, they are going to lose their home, get zero, and be blacklisted or whatever it's actually called out there. That's a real problem. If you're able to buy the property, they've got a few quid in their pocket at the end of it, and they're unscathed from their credit file, is that not a massive win to somebody that was about to get repossessed? Absolutely, in anyone's eyes, right? In the same way that if somebody has got something where they need to sell in a week, remember I said open market value to investor value, they are going to expect a discount for a quick sale on their property, knowing that they have to wait for months on the open market. So the question really is, well, Jamie, how do I actually find this? And it's a great question. And this is all about marketing. Like any business, you could have the best product or service in the world. If you don't tell people about it and show people it on a regular basis, then people won't ever find your product or service. And so this is where marketing comes in. You need to think Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, Facebook ads, which is definitely my favorite, leaflets to the area talking about how you can help people, and direct mail and so much more. And there's a load of videos that I've put on the channel that you can watch. If you go through my videos, obviously if you're subscribed, if you're not already, subscribe and hit the notification bell, but go into my videos and watch some marketing videos on how you can find these opportunities. So what are the problems with BMV property? Well, you might be saying, well, Jamie, doesn't sound like a problem to me getting a 100 grand property for 80 grand. Well, actually, there's usually 3 types of problems, and you want to write this down. And the reason I'm saying this is if you're not a professional investor or ready to get your hands dirty or realistic about what you're getting into, don't go near below market value property. Here's why. Either there is a problem with the person, i.e. the situation that they're going through, they need it quickly, they've got this sort of situation going on where you needed to buy cash instead of mortgage, you need to be prepared for that. Or there's a problem with the property, and what I mean by that is the condition of the property, or the tenant's not paying, or they've trashed it, maybe there's a weed farm in there, could be a double asset there, that's just what I'm saying. Or number 3, it could be a problem with the location. It's very rare, if you've watched my Islington video where I've got 100 grand off of the RICS value, it's very rare that those opportunities are going to come up. When they do, you snap them up, obviously, because you're going to make a load of money. but a majority of below market value properties are on little villages and towns surrounding the bigger towns. So Leeds, very unlikely, but some of the areas of Doncaster and bits like that, you might be able to pick up some properties. So problem with the property, problem with the person and their situation, or problem with the location. I would say 90% of the time that you're investing in BMV, you're going to need to look out for those three things. The final top tip I want to give you around below market value is don't become a motivated buyer. Now, personally, my recommendation is focus on the fundamentals. Getting a 10, 15 or 20% discount, which harder to get the 20s nowadays, honestly just isn't even part of my mindset anymore. And the reason for that is capital growth over the long term is such a strong way of really making money on property. The long-term average is around 7.2% annually. Let's say conservatively 5%. Well, my exit from property, as you know by now if you're subscribed, is death. i.e., I don't want to exit my portfolio. I just want to build the assets and buy. So really, if I get a 10% or a 15% discount, I really don't give a shit, because in 10 years, 20 years and 30 years time, where theoretically my 100 grand property might be worth 300 to 400,000 in that time, I'm really not bothered about the 10 to 15 grand that I saved today. Okay, so what I'm focusing on for my investors, and maybe you should too, is solid areas. So 2 to 4 bedroom houses, semi-detached or terrace, in great investment areas, great historic capital growth areas. And whilst you can't guarantee capital growth, because the past isn't a guarantee of the future, it is an indication of it. And we only go for freehold properties for my purchases, and we focus on an 8% return on capital. So by the way, if you're watching and you've got 100 grand that you want help building your portfolio hands-free, then put APG in the comments and one of my team will be in touch to help you do that. But guys, hopefully that's really helped. And yes, I believe in below market value. Yes, when a solid below market value property comes up, snap it up, take action and pull the trigger. But what I'm saying to you is, whilst it can be exciting getting a discount on the property, always ask yourself, number one, why is there a discount? And two, am I remembering my marketing and investing fundamentals? Hopefully that's been of value. If you want to let me know what you thought of the video, let me know in the comments. And of course, it helps me tremendously if you just lightly tap the like button. If you're not already subscribed already, what the hell are you doing? Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in a couple of days in the next video.